Hi! Today's story is about a woman who found 15 suitcases on a street, and when she opened them, she was shocked. So let's read the story and see what was inside. Kendra Walsh opened the first suitcase on the edge of the landfill and saw a man's gold watch sitting on the top of a folded shirts, like someone packed it yesterday. Not tossed, not ruined, not dirty, packed. That's when her stomach dropped, because you don't find a clean watch in a clean suitcase at a dump unless somebody did something wrong or somebody did something on purpose. Kendra was 34, a single mom in Toledo, Ohio, living in a small rental with 2 kids and a stack of bills that never stopped breeding. Her youngest, Miles, had asthma that turned spring pollen into a monthly crisis, and the medicine wasn't cheap. Her oldest, Ava, was starting middle school and pretending not to notice how often Kendra said, maybe next month. Kendra worked mornings at a daycare and nights cleaning offices, and she still had to choose which bill got paid on time. This week it was worse than usual. Her landlord had posted a late notice on her door, and her car needed a repair she couldn't afford. Then her husband's old medical debt, his from before he died, popped back up like a ghost with interest added. That Saturday, she finally did what she'd been avoiding for months. She cleared out the last of her husband's stored furniture from a friend's garage, his worn recliner, a cracked dresser, boxes of odds, and ants she didn't have space for. 2 neighbors helped load everything into a borrowed pickup, the kind of quiet kindness that makes you grateful and embarrassed at the same time. Kendra drove it to the country landfill because she needed the space back and she needed to stop paying for storage she couldn't keep feeding. She told herself it was just a dump run, nothing more. Get in, unload, get out, go home to kids who deserve a calm mother. Near the metal drop area, she saw them. 15 suitcases in a messy row off to the side, like someone had dumped them fast and drove away. Not duffel bags, actual suitcases. Rollers, hard shells, bright colors, cheap ones, expensive ones, every one of them shot. They looked to travel to belong in a landfill, and Kendra felt like familiar pull poor people learn early. The pull toward anything that might be useful, anything that might save you from buying what you can't afford. She told herself to ignore them. Then she pictured Miles' inhaler running out, and the landlord's notice, and her car dying, and she thought, one look, just one. She put on work gloves, walked over, and popped the latch on the closest suitcase. Clean clothes, shoes wrapped in grocery bags, a toiletry kit, no name tag, no address sticker, no luggage ribbon. She tried a second suitcase. Same thing, personal items packed like someone left home in a hurry, but with every identifying piece stripped away. A third suitcase had kids' clothes and stuffed animal with one eye missing, and Kendra felt her throat tighten because it hit too close to her own life. Then she opened the first case and found the watch. Kendra stood there with the dump, wine pushing at the hair, staring at the row of suitcases like they were watching her back. If one bag held something like that, what was another 14? And the question underneath that was even uglier. If someone cut every name off on purpose, why would they dump the luggage here instead of selling it? Kendra looked around. The landfill workers were busy. Other drivers unloaded and left. Nobody cared what happened to abandoned junk. And right there, with her kids depending on her and her bank account already gasping, Kendra made the first decision she'd be judged for. She started loading suitcases into the trunk, telling herself she sorted out later when her life wasn't on fire. Kendra told herself she was doing it for the basis. Clothes for the kids, a suitcase she could resell for gas money, maybe a decent winter coat. That story held together until she got home and opened the bags under the porch light. The suitcases weren't junk, they were lifts. Folded shirts, travel shampoos, kids' sneakers, a woman's scarf still smelling like a perfume, everything packed with care. When then stripped of every name like someone peeled the identity off on purpose. Kendra felt sick, but she kept going because sick doesn't pay rent, and her rent was already late. She found more than one watch, not a pile of diamonds, not a movie jackpot, but enough real value to make her hands shake. A gold bracelet in a zip pouch, a ring in a sock, a roll of coins tucked inside a toiletry kit, and the strangest part was how consistent it was. Almost every suitcase had one nice item hidden deep, like the person who dumped them knew exactly what they were doing and what they were leaving behind. It didn't feel like random trash, it felt like someone cleaning out a batch fast. That night, Kendra made a decision she'd never admit at church. She kept the best pieces separate and put the rest in donation bags, because the closest could help somebody and she didn't have space to carry someone else's entire life. Then she did the one thing she swore she wouldn't do. She took a single watch to a pawn shop on the far side of town the next morning, just to see if it was real. The owner was friendly until he wasn't. He checked it, nodded, and said, "You got ID?" Kendra handed over her driver license because she needed the money and because in America the request sounds normal at a pawn shop. He made a copy, typed her info, and offered her a price that felt low but tempting. Kendra almost took it until she noticed the way his eyes kept flicking toward her bag, like he was hungry for the rest. She said she needed to think, took the watch back, and walked out with her stomach in knots. Halfway to the car, her phone buzzed. A known number, no voicemail, then a text popped up. "Heard you selling travel jewelry, I'll pay cash today." Kendra stopped cold on the sidewalk. She hadn't told anyone, she hadn't posted online. The only place her name and number just went was the pawn shop counter. Back home, she checked her Parch camera app, an old chip on her neighbor helped her install. Around lunchtime, a man in a neon safety vest had walked up to her door, glanced at the camera, and left a folded card under her mat. The card didn't say pawn, it didn't say police, it said, "Baggage buyer, call me." Kendra sat at her kitchen table staring at it while her kids ate cereal like nothing in the world was wrong. She felt it hard truth slide into place. This wasn't just found property, this was a pipeline. Somebody was moving luggage-like product and now she had stepped right into the middle of it. Her best friend told her to dump everything back at the landfill and forget it ever happened. Kendra wanted to. Then Miles started coughing and reached for his inhaler, and the inhaler hissed weak like it was almost empty. Kendra stared at her son's face and made the choice that desperate parents make when the world gives them no clean option. She didn't return the suitcases, she didn't answer the text. She hid the valuables in a diaper box on the top shelf, packed the rest of the suitcases back into the borrowed truck, and drove quietly toward a reputable jewelry buyer across town, the kind with cameras and receipts. If she was going to cross a line, she was going to do it at daylight, in public, with witnesses. But as she pulled into the parking lot, her phone buzzed again. Same unknown number, this time the message was shorter, colder. "Those bags aren't yours, don't make this hard." Kendra didn't drive to the jewelry buyer like a thief. She drove like a mother who'd finally decided she was done being scared. She parked in the most visible spot she could, walked in with her head up, and told the clerk the simplest version of the truth. "I bought some items from a clean-out situation and I need them checked and priced." No long story, no dramatic details, just enough to sound normal. The store had cameras, bright lights, and paperwork, exactly what she needed. Because shady people hate places that leave records. The appraiser took his time, tested each piece in front of her, and wrote numbers down without acting impressed. That calmness was almost shocking on its own. When he finished, he looked up and said, "These are real, not all high-end, but real." Then he gave her a choice: sell outright for a strong cash price today or consign and maybe make more later. Kendra didn't have the luxury of later. She chose the clean sale, asked for a cashier's check, and watched the total land on paper like a door opening. It wasn't fantasy money, but it was life-changing money, enough to put a hard stop to the months-by-months panic. On the way out, her phone buzzed again. Same number, same push. Kendra didn't answer. She walked straight to her car, drove to her bank, and deposited the check before she let herself breathe. She paid the inhalers first, then the rent notice, then the car repair, then the POSU utility balance that had been stalking her for months. For the first time in years, she paid bills in the order of what's right, not the order of what's about to shut off. That evening, she did something that felt both small and enormous. She changed her phone number, turned off unknown callers, and asked a neighbor to help her add a better lock to the door. The baggage buyer never knocked again. The text stopped after a few angry messages, the kind of messages that mean someone realizes that easy target just got hotter. Kendra didn't win a fight, she simply made herself not worth the risk. With the money she didn't spend on furniture because the suitcases were full of usable clothes, she rebuilt the parts of life that mattered. New bedding for the kids, a real grocery run without counting every item, a used washer so she didn't burn quarters at the laundromat. She also did one thing that made her feel human again. She took the best of the kids' clothes from the suitcases, washed them, and delivered the rest, bags and bags, to a women's shelter where nobody asked questions and nobody judged her for surviving. The biggest change came a month later. Kendra moved out of the rental that always felt one step from disaster and into a small, cleaner place closer to Miles' clinic and Ava's school. It wasn't a mansion, it was calm, it was safe, it was a home where her kids could sleep without hearing their mother whispering numbers at the kitchen table. On Saturday in early summer, she packed sandwiches and drove the kids to a park by the river. Miles ran without coffee. Ava laughed in a way Kendra hadn't heard in a long time. Kendra sat on a bench and realized she wasn't bracing for the next bad surprise. She was just there. She never found out who dumped those 15 suitcases. Maybe it wasn't stolen luggage, maybe it was. Maybe it was someone cleaning up a mess before they got caught. Kendra stopped trying to solve it because her job wasn't to fix the whole world. Her job was to keep her children standing, and she did. Not perfectly, not legally pure, but honestly in the way real life demands. She took the chance she found in the dirt, paid her way out the hole, and turned a pile of forgotten trouble into a future her kids could finally trust. So this is the story. I hope you guys like it. Personally, it's impressed me. So I hope to hear your thoughts and your stories in the comments. And if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and see you next time.